40 chess. Yeah. 40 chess. 40 chess. Let's get it.
Yo, is that T-Dog?
40 chess. 40 chess. Hey. 40 chess. This a trade show. Patreon where the trades go. Tap in and watch. That's what you came for. Ain't gotta say my name. They know my name, bro.
What's good, man?
We got McNutted and Etienne. Always start off the show with a trade from them. You should always make sure that your trade is in. Patreon, why not be a Patreon? Know you wish you could spend every day with them. Tap in and say what you gon' say with them. South Harmon can fill up a stadium. Next time you log in, make sure that you bring a friend. We about to kick off, let the day begin. Go follow the socials. 40 Chess FF is posted. If your trade is an F, you get roasted. Go like and subscribe for the crew. Apple, Spotify, and the YouTube. You know Cooper got the warp too. Let us give you a walkthrough. 40 Chess. This is 40 Chess.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Dynasty Trade Show, episode 100.
100 episodes, Mike? Come on now.
Dig. Let's go. Adam, how you doing, buddy? BDG shirt again? I'm rocking a Jurassic Park, man.
Ooh.
We're like the same, but
I
different.
love that. Mike's coming to eat souls. I think be very curious to see. The trade I'm looking at is very much looking like Jurassic Park. We're going to start the show off with.
Good deal.
Speaking of which, if you want to show your eating, flexing, the T-Rex, we want to see it. Patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 a month gets you into the Discord to access us, talk to the shitheads, and most importantly, put your trades in the Shithead Trades channel. Get a chance to come be on the show. Mike, we got a new patron on the show today. Per Blitz, we got a new patron on the show. But you know what we do? We start off with one of our own, and if you like this content, give us a like, comment, subscribe if you're new. We're going to start off with Iowa Michael, and Mike, this is, I don't get it. 12-team Superflex PPR, best ball start 12, Shady Nasties retooled. Now, on one hand, when I say I don't get it, you're the Mac Jones, for forever guy, but come on, man. What?
Even I got a price.
I just... Like right now, straight up, the 112 or Bryce Young?
Bryce Young, no question about it. People hate it, though. I put out a YouTube short, and I already got, people are just responding with, the face palm emojis. That's what I get. People hate Bryce Young. They despise him. They think he's god-awful, terrible.
I mean, okay, so let me say it this way. The class this year is really, really good. And I can understand if, you don't want to give up liquidity per se for Bryce Young, right? If you could find a way to buy him without sending liquidity, I understand. But if that's not the case, we're talking the 112 here, Mike. So first of all, just understand at this point, this would probably be, at best case scenario, you're taking those early seconds if that happens in this class, like a Bo Nix at the quarterback position, right? I'm saying that's the only quarterbacks left. What I'm trying to say, I'm not saying you have to take it at 112. I'm saying if you wanted a quarterback at 112, McCarthy's gone, May's gone. None of these first round guys, Daniels, Caleb, they're not falling to you at the 112. I'm not saying that you are going to take that person at the 112. I'm saying that's what's left with quarterbacks. So you're getting Mac Jones, who I know on I know on Mike's crystal ball, Mike, you keep trying to make Mac Jones happen. Stop trying to make Fetch happen.
No, man. I'm trying to make Fetch is going to be a thing, man. If you know, you know. But interesting you say you're not getting McCarthy. Crazy enough, man, I got invited to a Campus to Canton mock, right? Dynasty mock. Just basic settings for Superflex. It was just nuts because I did pick at the 112, and you'll never guess who I took at 112.
Don't give the people hope like this because it happened at one mock, all right?
Just tiny, okay?
Did you actually, McCarthy went to 112?
He did go 112.
I will say what is funny
going on here?
Is how different communities and different circles run different with their values and stuff. At times, there's no chance if McCarthy gets the capital that he'll fall at 112. But Right now, people may be torn. I can understand. Point is, Mike, you're talking about a very good receiver probably, right? Or your pick at the running back position possibly. But like Mac Jones to me is not in the quarterback conversation really anymore. He honestly, I'm curious what your thoughts are. He is now in the top of my like what I consider to be backup quarterbacks that I don't consider secure quarterbacks.
Eric did a show, America's Game, and made me list backup quarterbacks.
I listened to the whole thing. I listened to that thing. Good one.
I thought it was disrespectful. He had Mac Jones all the time in the backup list, but that's true.
He just did a better foreshadowing job than you. That's all. It's not a bad thing. You know, you just weren't there yet. All right.
I wasn't there yet, but yeah, he's a backup guy.
I think he's
start somewhere at some point, but
I think people are mad about it, but I think he's a high, like towards the top of what I would consider my backup quarterbacks. You know, the upper, the mid 30s, whatever. So. Right. But that's not a starting quarterback. And I know listen, I'm not actually the biggest believer that Bryce Young this current season is going to like flip what happened last year and turn it over. I think he's going to improve. I think he's still a very talented kid. I think there's a lot of upside to be had with Bryce still. I think the situation is going to need some time. I don't think it's just going to night and day switch. But for this price, Mike, I don't view Mac as much of a piece here in essence, right? Even in best ball, which in this it's what is it? How many roster spots? 35? 40?
30, I think.
30 total? I mean, I like that even better for you. You kidding me? 30? Like when you get to 30 and lower, you end up having to have a lot of those decisions. Like I'm not saying you're going to cut Mac, but it's going to make a more difficult decision for someone else down the line because you took the two pieces here. And then Bryce Young for the 112 is just I'll take Bryce Young. If you had quarterbacks to spare, I could understand it, but I think I need better than 112. I need you tell me I get 108 or something and you have quarterbacks to spare, I could probably have more of a conversation with you. But at the 112, I think you're talking the same thing to me as like the 203. I'm not trading Bryce for that. So
a great one on this league. Won the league 2 years ago. Won the league last year. Last year, I really wanted to. I ran into this a lot. I always want to rebuild after you win a championship, especially when you sell your soul to the devil. This is the one that created a lot of controversy with the Jonathan Taylor trade, the tear down to Jacobs and a bunch of junk.
Was this the Pitts thing?
Yeah. This was the Kyle Pitts tear down.
That was all in that league? Oh, boy. Yeah, yep. I remember.
Won it 2 years ago. Wanted to rebuild. Nobody let me. Ran it back. Won it again. I got a sneaking suspicion nobody's going to let me rebuild again, Adam. So I need another quarterback. I got Derek Carr, and I got by with Joe Flacco and Jake Browning, and
I got bad news for Shady Nasty's retool. What do you think is going to keep Mike McNutter from storing up that fab and getting next year's Jake Browning and Flacco? Come on,
all over again, man.
But yeah, add Bryce. I get it. If you have a contender that doesn't need let's call it what it is. In best ball start 12, you always want more depth. But if you have a decent amount of depth and you need to get quarterbacks, I want the other side. Personally, I'm curious in the comments. Let me know if you think different. I know right now Bryce Young, Mike, is out for people. I'm not quite there. I understand the concern, but come on, man. There's a certain spot I think where the bleeding should stop.
What do you think? 109 or Bryce Young?
That's right on the range. I think that's where the conversation starts, where I would be now more actually interested in acquiring Bryce. Like at 108 or not and higher, I don't think I want to make that today because I think those picks are going to keep going up. I think there's too much value in the class. That 109 spot, it depends. At that point, it depends what you think of the next tier. Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin's, those guys. If you're really bullish on them, I could see if you want to stay. For me, I think that's probably where I'd be willing to probably pivot.
That's where I'm with you. That's where I put the cutoff point. 108's 50-50 on whether you possibly land a J.J. McCarthy or not,
Yeah.
And if that's the case, J.J. gets top 10 draft capital, he falls to the 108 in rookie drafts, I'm going to rank J.J. ahead of Bryce Young. I talked about this with Alan on the AMA last week. I mean, that's just where it is.
Look at you, growth. Look at that growth, man. I love seeing that out of you. I'll say the 108, if I don't need quarterbacks, the 108 or earlier is I'll definitely take that for Bryce, no question. If I don't need quarterbacks, like I would maybe consider the 109, but it feels light. Like I feel like I don't want to. I want something better than that range of player, even though it could definitely hit. That's where I'm kind of at.
All right, Waddle,
baby, Waddle. All right, Philly whiz without Jaylen Waddle in the 308 or Kyren in the 301. So this is 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 point tight end premium. We're in a lineup league dynasty degenerate frenzy. Mike, I mean, as soon as you had me at receiver, you lost me with Waddle, but then you definitely had me at lineup. I want the Waddle side here. I'm not, and I'm not the big Waddle person, honestly.
Me either.
I believe just positionally that I want the receiver here. And I'll just say it this way. While I'm not the biggest Waddle person, I got fought on my Waddle, not for me in the third round, Mike. That was one of the biggest fights that I had on any video I've done lately. You know what that means? People like them some Waddle, buddy. I'm going to flip this thing, I'm going to find somebody that likes them Waddle. I think Kyren right now, Mike, is one of the running backs that if you told me that he repeated, I'd be probably surprised because he's just the workload was ridiculous in the points per game. Now, if he was close to that but a little bit lower, like that I wouldn't be surprised by. But this time of year, I just don't want to carry that asset if I can get out for this. This pivot is nice. I will say, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. It doesn't make me change my view on the deal, but I do think the 301 and the 308's it's not going to move the needle on this trade, but 301 is like, man, the second round is juicy in this class, and 301 to 308's a little different for me.
Yep. Kyren, I don't know, been a big sell for me all off season. No offense to him. I'm with you though. Like, yes, is it realistic? Maybe he repeats. Maybe he's still a top 3 running back in 2024. Like, it could happen. Sure. It's a big, like, Sky Connor really likes him. Highly efficient, right? Even if they brought somebody in for competition, I've seen that. Like, him say that, like, it's okay. He would still produce. I also get it.
Like, you're Scott. You don't like running backs, so when you decide to pick your running back, it's like the ones that the running back lovers don't love. I get it.
That's completely fair, man. I understand all those, but also, like, how many times over history do you have to see this, right? Bad profile running back, not a lot of draft capital, 1 year, like, superstar breakout, and then they just go to zero. Right? Like, it happens, man. How efficient was James Robinson? And then what happened to him after that?
Yeah.
How efficient was Elijah Mitchell in a Sean McVay-esque offense, right? The Kyle Shanahan type offense. And then what happened the next year? Dameon Pierce, great in 22, terrible in 23. We do it over and over and over and over again. It's kind of like those, what we call them, face planter wide receivers, Adam. Could some of them hit? Could there be a Sky Moore-ish, right? Like, could Sky Moore, like, eventually do something? Could Rashad Bateman do something? Could one of these guys that we just put into this tier, Marvin Mims is going to be that guy for a lot of people this year, right? Could they eventually break out and all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, see, I was so right picking them. Yeah, 1,000%. Odds are you're probably wrong. Like, that's just how I want to play it. So if I'm going to put him in that bucket on odds are I'm probably wrong, if this is like my guy, send him away. I don't even like Jaylen Waddle. I'm with you. But this is the easy one for me. Take the wide receiver, and then I'll move the wide receiver somewhere else. I'll let somebody else risk it on Kyren. And if I miss, I miss. But more than likely not, history has told me I'm going to be right.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think if I think about it from the other side, Mike, here's, I guess, where, like, if I'm Joe R's 13, right? Let's just remove for a second, where we feel about players for a second, right? Because, frankly, like, I feel like both of these guys are sells for us, which makes it a little weird. But just take the bias out. If I'm Joe R's, right? And we've talked about this probably in the offseason, one of the more frequent things we've discussed. Let's pretend, Mike, we take our bias out. Now we pretend that we're Kyren guys. March 6th? Like, Mike, can I at least wait and see and make sure that, like, I don't think LA is doing anything as far as the draft early. But can't I at least wait to see after that and then make this?
Right?
Can't I get a little more time to take away some of this risk that the running back position as a whole, forget Kyren, offers? That's probably, if I was Joe R's 13, would be my biggest problem with the trade timing. Like even if you wanted to do it, let's say in like June, before people start really getting, July and August, they start pushing up and no one's going to trade Kyren or something. I definitely want to wait till the free agency and the draft happens, because I don't think they're going to bring in like true, split the backfield competition. But I think they're probably going to bring in somebody or some type of a back that might just, believe it or not, even though it might not actually do much to Kyren, it might take his perception down too. I just think there's a lot of time for values to change. So
interesting team build too from Joe R's. Like, I get it. Philly Wiz Without, he follows us, listens to us, pays attention.
I love what Philly's doing. What do we got with Joe R's team? Yeah, tell us.
Bryce Young and nobody at quarterback.
A man after your own heart. Bryce Young and nobody, right?
Wide receivers: Addison, Tank-Dell, George Pickens.
Uh-oh. That sounds like our olden days, Mike.
Cole Kmet at tight end. But running backs: Bijan, Gibbs, Kyren, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre. This sounds like 2020 Adam and Mike, don't it?
Your mind was exactly where I was. I'm like, this sounds like the OGs.
Sounds like the OGs, man.
Imagine us back in 22. Imagine our bullish love for Cam Akers, Mike. But we saw like it smash, and that's what we view Kyren as, is pretend. You imagine how crazy we'd be going at 22 for that? You're gonna let me get this? I give you the 301, or I'll give you I get the 301 too. But that's just so risky, though. Like, I'm actually pulling up right now the warp here. So I don't see it. Literally, the warp on the running backs, even the high ones, Mike, there is a very steep curve you'll see where the top running back was the highest scorer, but then it just trails the whole time. I just don't. You're on mute, sorry.
Pass.
There. Speaking of pass, Philly Wiz Without, I'm going to pass on them onions, all right? Without. All right.
Without Kyren.
Without Kyren. I think you need to soon be without Waddle, but that's just my own personal advice. 106, Mike. Actually, this is a pretty decent conversation. 12-team Superflex PPR, half tight and premium, lineup start 10. Okay. I like this trade as a discussion. Twisted 80 is like, all right, at 106, let's say he needs a quarterback. You could pull it up to confirm, but I just am envisioning the way this goes down, right? I'd like to get quarterback. 106 offers me that. But all of a sudden, an offer comes into your inbox. You can move back from the 106 to the 109. You're going back a tier, right? You probably missed a chance at a Rome, possibly. And you go back to, the next tier. Brian Thomas, maybe. He could probably be gone too, so it could be, Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, McConkey, whoever you have in that next group. Worthy, if you're that bullish. I'm not, but like that's what you're talking about doing, right? And you get Matthew Stafford, which is more of a, what do you want to call it, a rental? You get a rental at QB.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts? This is a 12-team Superflex PPR, half tight and premium lineup start 10.
The tier down king wants to tier up, and I will do.
Is it the lineup start 10?
It's the draft class too.
Yeah.
Right. But this was best ball. Started 12. I'm still telling you, I still want to tier up.
Really?
I just did this kind of similar thing.
Not to
it's
this
not
degree.
The 109.
Not to this
No,
degree.
it's not quite the 109, but really, Adam, if I'm looking at this class, what's the difference between the 109 and the 202?
Your pick. But I don't, from that lens, I get it. But Mike, you didn't send, I don't think you're probably getting a Matthew Stafford caliber quarterback at that 203, let's say.
No.
That's my biggest thing. The quarterback in this trade, I agree. Matthew Stafford is probably not a difference maker next year, and very few times has really been. But here's my thing, Mike. What if Rome's gone at 106? What if you're looking at Bowers or whatever? Like if Rome's gone, I think the tier of receivers is the same.
What if the 106 J.J. McCarthy?
That's the question. But now instead of taking J.J. McCarthy, Not saying that I wouldn't want to. You still get a very good receiver, and you get obviously not the upside of McCarthy, not the dynasty value of McCarthy. Maybe you get a 1 or 2 year rental, right? That's what you're doing. But you get let's put some names in there. Let's say that's Matthew Stafford and Brian Thomas versus J.J. McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Okay. What about what if, Mike? It won't be Rome, but what if Brock Bowers fell there?
To the 109?
Mm-hmm. What if it's Brock Bowers and Stafford?
Then you could talk about it from a value aspect. What could I trade Brock Bowers for?
That's
tell you in a half point tight end premium.
We don't want the Brock hold, but maybe Brock Bowers is a sell, right? I agree with that point. Who was your receiver for in this class? Is it Brian Thomas?
Brian Thomas.
Okay.
You go 5. You go Xavier Worthy. Now I might flip those guys too. Like there's been some.
They're in a tier though for you, right? So it's fluid. Yeah, I get you. But my only point is that if I ask you for your receiver 4 here, I mean Rome's not going to make it to 109. I'm sorry, people. I'm not going to pretend. So
no way.
I'll say, Mike. I don't know the roster. I think more often than not in a lineup start 10, I would absolutely prefer the 106. I will say though, the reason I was a little off guard, like in a best ball league, I'd probably be willing to take that other tier. I'd be willing to take that other side in best ball to start whatever, like heavy starters. Yeah, I'd take that. I'd take that second side.
Okay.
But in a lineup start 10, I'm with you. I want 106.
I'm pretty bullish that 107, 108, just kind of however you throw it in, right? If you want to put Brock Bowers in there, for market value, right? If it's a shit league with people who follow us and people who think or draft like we do, or know that we hate tight ends, moving Brock Bowers in that league is going to be tougher, so he's going to fall down quite a bit, unless it's a heavy tight end premium league. But just hypothetically though, just call the cutoff to 107 because that's like a Dunze or JJ McCarthy as a floor, and there's a possibility one of those guys goes higher. Maybe a Neighbor slips, maybe a Drake May slips, maybe a Jaden Daniels slips, somebody along those lines, and then you're really cooking with gas. Lineup leagues, easy tier up. Best ball, little different conversation if you want, but I'm still very comfortable tearing up because I think there is a big gap between whoever that, a Dunze or Neighbors, whoever your wide receiver 3 is, and who wide receiver 4 is. There's a crevice. I'm not even saying those guys are bad, but there's a giant crevice.
I get you.
Same kind of thing between like a McCarthy and a Stafford level quarterback, right?
Well,
if you were to go the QB route.
Of course. The reason I think on the best ball I would take it is because while I definitely agree in sentiment with you, like I think there is a 108 tier break for me. In a best ball league, as much as I would, dude, you tell me Rome Odunze or Brian Thomas, I'm not debating that. It's not close. I actually now, Mike, have no tier 2 for the record at receiver. I have 3 guys in tier 1. Tier 2 doesn't exist, and we go to tier 3. Okay, that's how it's gonna be. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care if you think I can't count. I can. This is what you're gonna be looking at. But here's the difference, though, Mike. In best ball, I'm willing to play the points per game production variance there because I'm getting a quarterback. It's not, that's the difference in just the way the league works. Can I tell you that I would not probably be willing to do this unless I had a good handle on my league. But the reason I think the 109 is intriguing to me, Brian Thomas at that size speed freak, I've already seen his keep trade cut. He's inside of 30. I think there's a scenario between him, between Worthy, between some of the guys in this class. I think it could become just convoluted enough where I just need one person to press the wrong person in front of me. And 109, all of a sudden, Mike, if you told me that this is 108, let me ask you that. Let's say this is directly 108. Where are you at?
Too tough because you put it right on that borderline.
But the reason I'm saying that is pretend for a second that
it is.
You had 108 and you didn't have to have someone mess up in front of you. That's the point I'm making. With 109, I think what's really intriguing about it, depending on how, it would obviously depend on how high you are with Brian Thomas, but also, Mike, I have seen in all these classes, we're talking about in March. Remember, the draft is basically 2 months away still. For these guys, I'm imagining they probably have this draft, post NFL draft. I have seen one pick at minimum go different than what I think in a lot of these drafts. So That's where I think it's a little tougher. But I'm not willing to probably take that risk today for Stafford in a lineup start 10. That's the difference for me. I'm not willing to do that. If it was 108, I think I'd probably do it.
Replaceable quarterback value.
Yeah, and this is where I think you got to be careful with timing too. I think it could absolutely work out for you. I just made the case for it, but Mike, I don't want to be leveraged out of ridiculously valued potential league-changing assets for a here's your piece of bubble gum you could chew for a little bit in Matthew Stafford. Like that's not how I want to play Dynasty.
I like it from the concept of Shockwave's team building thing too, right? He already has the 102.
Oh, okay.
He's a rebuilding team, but he had Kyler and Daniel Jones, Russ, and Stafford before this trade. Like, yeah.
I like it
some
too.
of these assets that don't really mean anything to me. Stafford doesn't mean much to him. Like, he's at best, he's hoping in a 1-for-1 you trade Stafford for what, the 112?
And what I like about it too is that Mike, yeah, at best, and it probably won't happen, but it could be. You never know. But what I like about it,
likely an early second-round pick, like in a 1-for-1. Like, let me use him as a piece to take the 109, which is a fine pick, right? But it's no more different than that. And let me go up. I'm rebuilding. It's a lineup league. Start 10. I need hammers. So let me get another pick in that hammer tier.
Well, I think that's where too, like to the economy probably in a lineup start 10 is going to be more tier up, right? It's going to be more in the consolidation. So you could have basically got the value. You can now extract something crazy for Rome, let's say. But Mike in lineup start 10, imagine if you get either Daniels or May or something like that too. I mean, oh, goodness, stop.
See, like the next thing is I go to that guy and I take, he's got like a Chris Godwin or Deontay or Mark Andrews, right? And I like see if I can attach the early thirds that I have. Like, how many early thirds do I got to put on these guys to get a 105, 104?
Right. What?
We get a third pick in the top 7.
I mean, I like it, right? You keep making little shockwaves until you get there.
Yeah.
12-team Superflex best ball start 13. It's full PPR. AAF fuckos, Mike. JCap and Castle Black here. This is I'm curious your thoughts here, buddy.
Shit on shit crime, boy.
That is JSN and 204 or Smitty, McGlaughlin and 403.
Easy JSN in the 204 for me. No offense, JCap. Love you, dude.
I mean, JCap, it is offense from me. I don't. What's the McGlaughlin thing all of a sudden? Like who's responsible
Derek
for?
Brown.
I know. I was hoping to slow play that a little bit. Who's responsible for JCap?
That's how much I love D-Bro. We
call
each other out.
D-Bro knows I have no problem. Like, I saw it, and
I didn't post anything on his Jaleel McGlaughlin thing, but I did when he put the JMO thing from the combine when they were talking about it. But I was just like, as your friend, don't.
Let me ask you, Mike, because this would be like
Concerned.
Where I feel like Castle Black, we have to find him, like criminal activity. You know, you put somebody down, and that's called murder, right? Does D-Bro get guilty by association because of what took place with the McGlaughlin left? Like,
they might, or JCap could just be driving this on his own, man.
I mean, I know, I'm just messing, but at the same time, like, I don't get. Okay, I'm okay with the McGlaughlin hype. I'm okay with McGlaughlin hype to an extent. The 403 McGlaughlin and the 204 in this class, Mike? No, not even close.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to have Smitty still over JSN, fine.
That's fair. Yep.
That's perfectly fine. But Mike, for me, they're in the same tier. So I do have Smitty ahead.
Me too.
I would take him in a startup. We talk about in tiers. We're not going to trade either side. I'd hold either side here if it was 1-for-1. But Mike, the difference in 204 and McGlaughlin and 403 pretty sizably offsets anything that I feel about the difference in Smitty and JSN.
Yep.
Just asset wise. Forget production for a second. I'm just talking about dynasty value right now. It's March.
Even if it was, let's say they're different tiers, hypothetically. Let's take JSN out.
What if it's Jaden Reed?
There you go. That's a good one. Jaden Reed in the 204, Smitty, McGlaughlin in the 403.
We're having a conversation in lineup. In best ball start 13, it's not close. I'll take the other side still. I'll take Reed in 204.
I still want to Reed in the 204.
Let me ask you if it was a lineup start 9.
Yeah, I think then you could make the case. You really could.
I
think
agree.
Then I might go Smitty because it's a lineup league.
And you
I
get
want a
McGlaughlin,
little bit better.
the stash.
I just get a running back.
The 403
toss
is
it in.
just, you'll see what you do. Yeah.
The 204 may or may not be anything in the start 9. Like
I still would have a hard time probably doing it. But I'm with you. I think it makes sense to go ahead and take that shot at Smitty, where he's probably a little devalued. The whole Eagles team seems to be devalued right now. So I'll
It's wild.
Yeah, Mike's wearing that hat proud. But, man, can I tell you the slander that I've seen? The Jalen Hurts trades. I just wish, Mike, I really wish that when I try to go get Jalen Hurts that slander still was there. I get told no, like I just asked for someone's kidney or kid when I go to get Jalen Hurts. I'm watching these deals go down where they're getting Hurts in a first. Like, where's mine?
Like, I see the deals go down. I see the lab. I see they go down, and they're on trade shows. I'm with you. Where's mine?
Yeah, they know. At least for me, like, I'm not a Eagles fan. I'm not wearing the hat. Like, they probably know what's coming with you. Anyway,
And people hate Bryce Young, Adam, but I've only gotten a handful of Bryce Young deals. Most people tell me to piss off when I offer the 110.
we might need to. Well, we ain't. I just told you it won't be the 110. We might need to see if we can make something work with. I got a bunch of Bryce shares. I know you probably want to get your hands on, but I bet you we're too greedy on each side. We could see what's up though. 12-team, Superflex, PPR, half tight end premium, lineup start 11. The cellar dwellers, Mike. I feel like this league has been around. I've been dwelling in this cellar before. Slemmo, what do you think here, buddy? Chris Godwin, Jaylen Warren, George Kittle, or Garret Wilson from the Ohio State University?
And again, another wide receiver on here where I'm like, kind of good. But you've also seen me acquire him because I do understand what the market value is on him.
Right, because I think there are people that have him in tier 2, yeah.
Lineup start 11, like it's deep enough where you're like, I need some depth too, but I'm okay sending away 3 pieces like this.
The half tight end premium, George Kittle.
Nope.
I mean, it's just that
Jaylen Warren's a fine running back. Chris Godwin's a fine wide receiver 2-3 type, but I'm okay up tiering.
Yeah, I think here. See, this for me, Mike, is where the A-Warp tight end life has definitely changed completely the way I'll view a trade like this. Like, before that, I would have, like, just on a value standpoint in a start 11, been like, I just don't like doing all this in a start 11. But the crux here, the crux of the tier up for me is Kittle, because I value it. People that value Jaylen Warren significantly ahead of any running back on a 53, I don't do that with him. I don't. So, like, that piece for me, I'm comfortable getting rid of, knowing I can just backfill running back in a lineup start 11 league. So if you're telling me the real big crux is Kittle, that's like the big piece I'm coming off of, and I look at half tight end premium and I think about A-Warp tight end life, bye.
See ya.
You guys were good. Chris Godwin, George Kittle, all tight end 1 and wide receiver 1 at one point. Jaylen Warren for some, running back 1, but you all got to go,
So here's the thing. You know me, I love the down tier. And we've talked extensively, too, about de-risking yourself, the 3-for-1 asset, the whole thing. We're in the offseason. You got to hold these guys for a while. Mm-hmm. Like, the one asset I can guarantee that probably ain't going anywhere down, like just tanking, is Garret Wilson out of these.
Yeah, he'd have to have some kind of freak accident injury. That's the only thing that could happen.
Chris Godwin just took a little bit of a hit, right, with Mike Evans re-signing. Like,
yeah, I'm interested to see what happens there. I got some Godwin shares I've been sitting on cheap, and I don't like it.
George Kittle, kind of in limbo just because of age. Jaylen Warren still continues his in limbo, right? You like, oh, they got Arthur Smith, but then you also look at how messed up that backfield was in Atlanta, how much run Tyler Algier got, and how much run Bijan got at times, and you're like, you could see a scenario where maybe you give 60% of the work. Like, it's even more slanted towards Najee than it was.
All right, Mike. So let's pretend this is a South Harmon quiz or a test, all right? And you're making the answer key. And the lineup start 11 isn't there, and it's a blank. You got to fill this in. To answer you have to answer the question correctly to take the daddy to Lexi 53 side.
Lineup start 13 best ball start 11.
I like it. I think I was just actually going to say, Mike, it's probably like lineup start 13. I'd be thinking about it. If you had some kind of these crazy bananas start 14 or more, I wouldn't feel the greatest, but I'd be like, I can't pass on this type of depth. Probably.
I just got to fill spots.
Right. So I'm with you there. I think the half tight end premium too. Like, listen, I just don't
change that to 2 tight end premium, and all of a sudden you're having a different.
I don't care about a half tight end premium. Like I've learned the hard way, buddy. I've learned the hard way to not care at all. Like that basically, you can just remove this, right? Yeah, I'm with you. Slimmo, good job. I think what I do now with Garret Wilson is I go see what I can really make shake with Garret Wilson as an asset. Mm-hmm. D goodies, and how sweet. 12 team Superflex tiered PPR. We got a 0.2 points per carry best ball start. 12 wide receivers full point. Running backs get 1.5 per catch. We've seen the tier PPR, that some people call it, switching here, and you get tight ends at 2 now. So they're at least a little bit in play. Trade Central, where you at?
So a startup trade, huh?
Yeah. This is a big one, by the way. So here, let me just read off the pieces for the podcast. So Home Suite is receiving 207, which ends up being Kyler Murray, a 25-second, and they stack it at the 409 with Trey McBride. All right, so that's what Home Suite is getting. He's getting the Kyler, or she's getting the Kyler and Trey McBride stack plus a second and 25. D Goodies is getting the 507 yet to be picked, the 606 yet to be picked, the 609 yet to be picked, all in the startup, as well as a 25 first. What say you? So let's just, for the people that are listening and wondering, you know what we got to do. Let's pull up South Harmon ADP just to give some names. I think that's at least for the trade discussion, Mike, I think before you and I go to the strategy side, let's just give a little bit of context. All right. So 507 for the record. Mike, this is that range of Rashee Rice, the 107, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, JSN, Jordan Addison. You know, that's that tier right there. Now the 606, you're looking at, your boy Bryce Young. You're looking at the pick 108. I can't imagine that's actually there. That's an easy discussion. No questions asked. But, Jaden Reed, Saquon, Stephon Diggs, Debo, pick 109. Then you got at 609. You're getting 2 of those, the pieces I just named there. You're getting 2. So there's some good players there. You're getting those 3 players, plus you're getting a 25 first. Now, the one thing there is the only quarterback you're getting in that range is, you're reaching on Baker, or you're getting the, depressed asset of Bryce Young as the quarterback tier down. Where you at?
Yep. Best ball. I want the 5, the 6, the 2 6s, and the 25 first. Kyler is a really nice grab at the 207, which made this tough. It was like, damn, man, they lucked into Kyler at the mid to back part of the second round. Good job.
Right.
Trey McBride, though, at the 4 was like, could have done better. Now, if you picked a better player at the 409, maybe you're having more of a conversation.
Let's just say when you trade it away, it's an asset. Let's say it turns into Michael Pittman, which is the current ADP there. Right? Like I think let's just talk about it from that lens, because when you traded it away, I'd imagine you didn't press the button. If you did and you pressed the button on Trey McBride, I think you got bailed out. But let's just talk about it from Pittman too.
And those 5, 6, and 6s hadn't been picked yet, Adam, and you're talking about it, right? Like we could have those conversations, but you and I have both seen those like kickers in those range sometimes. You're actually getting the 106, the 107, and the 108. I will take the possibility in a startup right off the bat here, in a best ball league, of taking 4 liquid first for even Kyler Murray, Michael Pittman in a second.
Right.
I'll take the 4 first potential.
Let's say, Mikey, you ended up getting the 107, the 109, and the 110 in the 25 first.
Easy. I'll take it.
I agree. And that was me like saying you get the worst of them. Yeah.
Imagine if you got better.
Well, that's what I mean. You could end up getting the 107, the 108, and the 110. I mean, I don't know. It all depends on your format. I do think in the end of the 6, Mike, is right where I've seen typically, because ADP says Watson and Bryce. I typically see like the picks kind of go in waves in that 6th round. So maybe you get them, maybe you don't. Point is, though, even still, Mike, I mean, you're talking about let's say it wasn't picks. So let's say right now, this is what you get as the offer. Let's say it's players for a second. This is obviously different than what you're taking. But let's say you get Rashee Rice. Let's say you get JSN. And let's say you get Baker Mayfield. And a 25 first.
It's best ball league, and that's like worst case scenario, Adam.
I didn't go like completely worse. I didn't make even be all running backs, but like your point is those were not the sexiest of assets you got there, right?
Nope. And you'd still rather have those.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, by the way, the Baker's going in the 706, so I feel like that was like saying, all right, you don't want to miss out on quarterbacks. You took them too early too, right?
Think about it too, right? It's a point per carry league. So even if worst case scenario was you're taking running backs there, which
what if you got
decent warp, you're building a contender right out of the startup, and you have somebody's 25 first to leverage over them.
Mike, let's talk about like
startup.
Let's talk about in this range too.
Trading your first in a startup, unless it is a home run slam dunk, is a horrible idea anymore.
Let's talk about this one, because in this format you get not just the 0.2 points per carry, but you get the running back 1.5 per catch. What if you snag a guy like Rachaad White with one of those picks? You get both sides of the whammy, huh? You get the points per carry, and then you get that upside of the passing game.
Yeah.
You know what? We should pull up Warp here, I think.
There you go. Trade Central Warp.
Oh.
I bet the running backs are pretty decent here.
It's making me think about it. Now, point is, it just gives your options better. Like I'm not going to tell you have to take them even if the Warp is better, right? But I would be a little more apt. The other thing too, Mike, you're getting the better end as far as multiple assets. So you let me get 4 pieces for the 3, and maybe I'll take my shot on one of these running backs because the Warp says so. Let's pull it up here. So Trade Central. Let's see.
I haven't seen either one of these managers on the trade show before. So is this the
This is the new one. Yep.
This is the new one. Who's the new member? While we're out here, maybe we're giving.
Maybe it's not. Hold on, let's see here. Probably not. This might not be, but I think D Goodies is the member. I could be totally making that up, by the way. So if I'm wrong, sorry, home sweet. All right. By the way, Mike, yes, take a look at this warp graph, boss.
Is it nasty?
The green is on fury. Like this is one of those leagues where you almost in this range have no way to lose.
Just dubs.
If they let you get James Cook and Rachaad White, or James Cook and Isaiah Pacheco and Rachaad White even. I'm not a big fan of taking running backs there in general, but with this type of a warp line, Mike, just understand that the running back line is literally ahead of every line here. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, all the way to like 34.
Nasty.
So in this range, basically, here's the way I look at it. If the running backs go ahead of you, great. I get better picks of receivers or picks. And if they don't, maybe I'll, splurge, take 1 or 2, right?
And shout out, it is D Goodies.
Yeah, see? I thought
didn't even just a man of our hearts, or woman of our hearts, a person after our hearts.
A shithead, if you will.
A shithead doing their part. Love it. I love the strategy too, right?
I do too.
Best ball league. Paying attention.
I love that. All right. Chill Will, Mike, in the Dirty Dozen.
Not a new person.
Not a new person at all. The Dirty Dozen feels like it's been around a time or two before. I will say, speaking of new people, though, this is a new victim for Chill Will. We'll see if it's actually the case or not. But Noah Kellum, 7. Okay. 12-team Superflex PPR, 0.75 tight end premium. We're best ball starting 10 here, Mike. The best ball start 10, the stack of Tua and Waddle, or CeeDee and the 202. Pick 14 in this class.
This is
so you're talking Keon. You're talking. Go ahead. It's tough because CeeDee what?
Because CeeDee's in that elite tier, right? First round startup range.
No doubt. He's solidified 109, 110 right now. They keep going back and forth, him and Chase.
What's Tua, like best case third? Same for Waddle.
Tua is about as hated as it gets. It's like he finished on the wrong side of the bed. 306. And Waddle is, I think, in the same round. I got Waddle to leave the third. What do you know? Even though everyone's going, Waddle's at the 401. Not really me, but that's awesome. So, yeah, 306 and 401, Mike, or the 110. 202 right now. I'll argue it higher than this, but it's going at the 1004. There's no chance that happens.
This is a tough one for me to tear up because it's best ball. This lineup, this is no question about it. Because it's best ball, even though it's start 10. Still want the 2-for-1 because whatever I'm getting at the 202 isn't going to equal Tua or Jaylen Waddle by themselves. And Tua or Jaylen Waddle could be 80% of the warp production easily of a CeeDee Lamb, even though he's a god.
My biggest thing here, Mike, is what is Chill Will working with? Because here I could make if he's flush at quarterback or at least solid at quarterback, I can make a strong case for the other side. If not, like if you dug into quarterback too deep for this, that's where I have a little bit more of a struggle. Let's see what we got.
I'll pull him up here.
You're all good. By the way, 202, man, there's no chance I see this going at the 1004. Like, bro, no way. No way, man.
Pretty deep, huh?
Dude, I think the 202 is going to go in the 8th or 9th at latest in the early part.
Man, it's tough, too, spelling Chill Will's name because
he always leaves that 1L. Yeah.
I think we're leaving out 2, right? There's only 1 at the end.
Yeah, he leaves. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, he does it twice to you. That's true.
How dare him?
I know. That's what he likes.
Makes me hate his trade even more.
Well, Chill Will, by the way, just so you know, Mike, while trying to grade this trade fairly, is not really a big fan of you at the moment because you didn't spell your name right.
So he's rocking Hurts, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield at quarterback. So he's fine there.
Yeah, I'm good with it because can I tell you why? I think that the reason is this. Okay, Waddle right now in startups is wide receiver 12 currently. Mm-hmm. Last year, points per game, wide receiver 21. Like, to me, what I would be doing if I'm him here, I'm not actually going to, with the mindset of taking a 202 player like a Keon Coleman. Let's pull up the rookies and just see what the rookies say in the. Let's pull up the rookie Superflex right now just to see 202. And we don't have actually. Of course, we haven't had any real drafts. But Keon Coleman. Who else would be in that mix, Mike? Your pick of the running backs in the class, whatever it is. I think that you could go ahead.
Got an updated list. Okay. Unless I had the wrong league up. So he's got Hurts and Mason Rudolph. He's got the 104. So maybe a quarterback there.
So there you get a quarterback. All right. So he's going 104 quarterback. Let's call it whatever's left of Daniels, May. And he's got, who is it? Hurts?
Hurts. That's about it.
But no quarterback 3?
Nope.
It's a little tougher here. I'll say, I mean, you already did the trade. So, Chill Will, I'll say that at this point, like, I'm looking to cheaply get a quarterback 3 that's going to start. And I'm that's one place I think is always risky to get, kind of taxed. But I'd be digging in, Danny Dimes territory, Russell Wilson territory, stuff like that to see if I can get one cheap. If you get 3, I'm fine with it. Because here's the big thing, Mike. I think you can turn during the draft cycle 202 into someone like Amari Cooper, into someone like Terry McLaurin, something like that, where now all of a sudden you offset the Waddle and 202 points per game pretty simply.
So let's say you could turn that into like a Stafford-esque quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
And you could also go that route. That probably would not be the way I would go with it, but you could totally do that. Let's say it was, let's say it's Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield there.
Yeah, put one of those guys in there. Then it's Lamb in the quarterback versus Tua and Waddle.
I mean, I think, Mike, if it's Baker, I'd definitely take the Lamb side.
Yep, I get you. The 202 right now, it's just a pick number, and you're like, if you just took that as a wide receiver, you go, an actual rookie pick, you're more hesitant, especially with this quarterback situation. But if Chilwell does a good job and turns that into another quarterback, there we go. You're in. And I would like his side. What about for Noah, right? T-Law, Tua, now at quarterback, receivers, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Waddle, DJ Moore, Dotson,
Amon-Ra, Ayuk. Oh. I'll just say, Mike, if I'm doing this personally, I get to stacking it. Like I'm not going to argue strongly against it. I just think this, Mike. If I'm doing this, the 202 is not. I'm not getting rid of Lamb in a 2-for-2 trade, getting off of a top 14 pick. Also, I'm not doing that, man. I actually don't mind because I'm more bullish on Tua than most. I'm okay with this stack in best ball, Mike, but not CeeDee Lamb to me is one of those guys that just his value right now, anyways, worth his weight in gold, and I think you could get a better. Like I think I could either not send the 202, send something a little bit less there, or try to go after. If I'm going to send the 202, try to go after something better as a, more upside than Tua, more upside maybe than Waddle. That's my biggest peeve with it.
Saying a little teaser, man. Team reviews done by us, Koopa, Eric.
Noah,
throw him into the mix, man. This is a good one for it. Where it's like if you're Chill Will in this territory, it's like, well, who do you target with the 202? Here's a little sneak preview. I go to the guy called Tight End University.
Ooh, I love this.
Who has the 101 because his team is bad, but he's also rocking a Jared Goff. It's like, what do I got to add to the 202 to get Jared Goff?
202. We do the same question I gave to Mike, but to that person. 202 plus blank equals Jared Goff. We make a deal. I like that.
Yeah, and if I'm Chill Will, it's like you got a team named Tight End University. Dalton Schultz get it done, boy.
I know you like Dalton Schultz with 3 finishes inside the top 12, Mr. Tight End University. Here you go. Here's your path. Buddy. It's best ball. You don't have to worry about when to start him, right?
Yeah. Darnell Mooney, Sheed.
I mean, I think I'll just say, Mike, because the draft still has almost 2 months till we get there, and it's, 6 weeks. Let me not make the people wait longer than it really is. Sorry. But, Mike, it's just that pick I know right now is inflated from where it was before the combine, and I feel like it's still climbing. Now,
well, here you go. Chill Will's got the 112. What'd we kick off the trade show with? Send that 112 to Hawaii. Who's got
Brycey? There you go. You'd be super in on that trade, right? You go from the 112 to the 202, right? So you and then you basically send the 202 to Bright. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'd be
DynastyTeamReviews.com.
DynastyTeamReviews.com. I'll tell you what, Mike. I just think he's very flexible here. Like, he could probably find a way. If he wanted to go crusty, he could probably get Russell Wilson without sending the 202. He could find a way to buy cheap quarterbacks. Like, I think he's flexible. So, I want, even in best ball, the best asset here if I'm getting 2-for-2 and staying in that top 14.
And get behind it. Yep.
All right.
I don't think Noah got buried, though, so we're good.
No, I don't. I just think if I'm coming off of CeeDee right now, I'm probably wanting a little better. Yeah. All right, here we go, man.
It doesn't involve me sending you the 202 back in a best ball league. Like, piss off.
Yeah, I feel like I'm giving you the CeeDee, which is already the best piece, but right now, that 202 is like going like this, and I feel like Tua and Waddle are just chilling. I feel limp about it.
We got one screenshot from the internet.
Bang. This feels like when the internet first started right here. It's like you can hear the dial-up in the background. Big red machine. I love machine. Machine is here, new patron and new trade. So let's see what we got here.
There we go.
10 team, super flex, half PPR, half tight end premium, lineup start 10. So Mike, 10 team, half PPR, half tight end premium. Where are you at here? So Jalen Hurts versus Jordan Love, right?
Easy.
You got a 24 first from Swisher, and you got Travis Etienne, and then a 25 first versus a 26 second. Where are you at here?
Hurts Etienne in the second. Jordan Love a 25 first and a 24 first.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. Where's the 24 first at?
So here's what I'm seeing though. He's leveraging both his own future, 24 and 25.
That's tough.
That's the part I don't like. What's the team? Let
me pull it up, man. See what we got here.
I feel like variance now has a hold of me.
What do these people? All right, to all the new people. Find 12-team leagues. 14s will do. 16, you're crazy. 10-team or below. I go, 8-team league. I hate your face.
I don't think we've ever had an 8-team on the trade show yet.
We've had
8-team on the AMAs though. Questions?
Don't. All right, so it is the 104 in this class.
All right, so 10 team, Mike. I feel like
Quarterbacks don't hold them as high.
Yeah, you're probably looking.
Nice.
You're gonna miss. I mean, you could end up getting like a Rome there, though.
Could get a Rome.
All right, let's just pretend. Let's just pretend for a second. Let's say it's Rome. Jordan Love, Rome.
Odunze, and this person's future first, or Jalen Hurts, Travis Etienne in a second. It's Jordan Love, Rome Odunze, and the future first by a country mile.
Yeah,
I do love getting Hurts, but you change this to 12-team, Adam, bigger conversation because it's a pretty big tier up from Love to Hurts.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, actually, though, is that the 10 team. So the 10 team does, though, put Jalen Hurts more as the piece you want because you're trying to make sure you get the hammers. But in 10 team, I view it more as like I think Jordan Love can fend off what's happening to the matchups I'm playing at quarterback. Jalen Hurts has to go be that guy. What I don't want to do is get rid of a pick that could become one of those 3 receivers I have in like that easy 1 tier for me. And then let me ask you, let's pull up his team. Or you pull up his team. I'm going to pull up the warp if you don't mind. And what I want to do is see like I want to really project his team versus the league and where if realistically variance can end up messing him up because
Big Red Machine is rocking Hurts now and A-Rich at quarterback.
I like it.
Etienne, Ramondre Pollard, Jerome Ford for running backs. Tank
Don't
Dell,
love
Michael Pittman, JSN, Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson at wide receiver, tight end, Evan Ingram, and then draft capital left 106. That matters.
So they're either going to take a quarterback, which I probably wouldn't want to do, or you're going to miss Rome and those guys probably. So
maybe you get a Bowers.
Halftime. I mean, yeah, you could try to move it, but man, it's just okay. But when we look at this team, here's what when you read it to me. Okay, I definitely think you have hammers and you could destroy the league for the most part at the QB position. If A-Rich stays healthy, you can like really wax him up there. But Mike, honestly, I don't think like any of the names you named after that to me. I feel like I got running back 1s, I got wide receiver 1s locked in like hammer points per game. I think you said Pittman, right?
Yep.
Pittman would be my wide receiver 1. Like in 10 team, honestly, I love Pittman, but I'm fine there, but I don't feel like I've got like something stupid. I feel like I'm good there. But then after that, it was Watson. I don't want to start Christian Watson in this format, man.
What about if you're Swisher 33 in this? Great team name, too. You scratch my CD. Jordan Love now. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. 10-team Superflex. Like, I'm okay with that.
Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to at some point probably tier up. But again, if it was Hurts in those two, I still feel like I have that super flex to worry about anyway.
Running backs in this format, I can almost guarantee you probably have a pretty good warp line.
I'm working on pulling it up right now, Koopa.
Okay. Bijan, Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook.
Goodness. You only had to get rid of Etienne too.
Now your receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Nico Collins. He's got Sam Laporta at tight end, and he has the 102, 104, and 107 in this class, plus a future 25 first from.
Read that again, please. Read that again, because I think people need to hear this.
Wide receivers or the running backs?
Go ahead and start from the running backs.
Okay. Bijan, Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Nico Collins. Tight end, Sam Laporta. 102, 104, 107. In a future 25 first.
I don't love it. All right, I'm going to tell you, Mike, this is where, okay, I don't know if people in 10 team pay as much attention to warp because it's 10 team, and I don't know if it's as, I don't want to say competitive. Like every league I think is just their economy, but if you're paying attention to warp, and Mike, if you have Aaron in a 10 team, and this is, I'm going to put this on screen. I need you to check this out though, okay? And the reason I need you to check this out is this is what I'm talking about with 10 teams.
Quarterbacks don't matter.
Mike, I want people to understand this. Let me pull it up a little, actually. It's a 10-team, half PPR, half tight end premium. And look at that wide receiver line. Look at that running back line. And look at that quarterback line.
Studs. Need the studs.
Mike, it's all about, I'm telling you, this league, 10-team leagues, unless the scoring gets stupid, is all driven by the receivers. Everything that you think about with Superflex, put it towards the receivers, and then think about when in 12-team, we have debates with quarterback and receivers. And now you remove the quarterbacks. That's, to me, what 10-team's all about, and I don't know that most people understand that. Because even if you have Jalen Hurts, Mike, my point is, let's say that Jalen Hurts actually smashes Jordan Love. Let's say that actually happens. Let's say that he is quarterback 1. That's 1.9 warp versus maybe a 1 warp, maybe a 0.8.
0.9 ramp.
I mean, okay, it's still good. I'm not saying it's a bad, but like, Mike, do you realize what 104 could be? Rome, Marv. It's not going to be Marv, but Rome or Neighbors. It probably won't be Neighbors, but if it's Rome, Mike, that's crazy.
Could be a top 15 wide receiver.
Let me ask you this. Let's even say it's Brian Thomas Jr. And knowing this warp line.
Still risk it. Risk it for the biscuit. I'll take the tear down even to get a wide receiver of a Brian Thomas caliber.
Because here, can I tell you what ends up knowing the warp line, Mike? Because I want people to count
25 wide receiver warp range, but yeah.
Yeah, but like Brian Thomas, to me, I think I could probably flip to a receiver that's top 20-ish and 25, right, and just stay in this line well ahead.
A producer who's not as sexy. Yep.
Exactly, Mike. But here's the biggest thing to me. Okay, Etienne still with this running back line, if he stays healthy, could end up being pretty good around that 2 range. But can I tell you what is all of a sudden to me, where the deal is like even 10 times better? That second versus that first, knowing that it's almost like one quarterback the way I'm going to draft, everything. It's everything.
Means everything. Yep.
And I mean, Mike, just think about this. Quarterback 23 and we're negative in warp.
Done.
Mac Jones, bye-bye. You don't even exist.
All right, Pete back.
It's
been nice. Start the show with a little back love, end the show just digging up a grave.
Big red machine. You're still my machine. I still love you. We'll work with you, buddy. DynastyTeamReview.com. You don't actually have to if you don't want to, but DynastyTeamReview.com. Eric and Coop have been doing some really good things. Mike and I have done some reviews. If you want just one of us individually, you want to pop on. We've had a pop on where you're on the stream with us and we can go through the roster with you. Really, really cool, man. I've loved seeing those so far. Had a lot of fun doing them, and I think that we're getting some good results for the people playing. But overall, big red machine. Even if you don't do that, I think we'll get you next time. We'll get you next time. We'll be better prepared for next trade.
Hey,
but Mike, what'd you think of the trades overall today?
If there's anything better to sell the importance of the warp tool, because it is league specific, it is scoring specific, it is starter specific. Right there, that last one. Bang. We can talk in hypotheticals all you want, right?
Yep.
Like, I think they're devalued, the blah, blah, blah. Jalen Hurts is still awesome, though. Maybe even in 10-team, he's still really cool. Pull up the warp tool, and all of a sudden you see Adam. Yeah, as much as I love Hurts, you can't look at that warp graph, that A-warp graph, and go.
Hey, Mike, what if I told you that your Kyren Williams was worth a little more than Josh Allen in warp?
See, exactly. That's where you take your priors and you throw them out the window, don't you?
James Cook is worth every quarterback not named Josh Allen, basically the same. He's worth more. Like,
that's nuts.
Michael Pittman. It's just, I don't know how to illustrate it better. It's just, man. Obviously, you would like to have those top 5 quarterbacks, but at the expense of skill players that are in the top 20, I'm not doing that.
Do you imagine what that startup draft looks for that format and that team?
You know what? I'd be so curious, though, Mike. I really would love to see. Actually, you know what? Patrons, or whether you're a patron or not, check out the Discord. In the Discord or on Twitter, if you're not a patron, come send me some startups. Send me links. I want to see. I don't play in them, okay? But I would love to see, because I've always theorized this, Mike. I don't think people play, like, in my mindset, all the advice I've given is like, all right, what do I know about this league? I don't think people play in 10-team as much as I think most people should play like one quarterback. And I'm curious to see how the startup reflects and the rookie picks reflect. So if you are in a 10-team league, send me links. I want to see rookie drafts. I want to see startup drafts. I want to see where people are valuing quarterbacks and taking them. So do that for us. Come join the Discord. We are always yapping in there. I'm actually not, by the way. Mike's the one doing all the yapping and taking care of it in there. I'm kind of MIA. You hit me in the DMs most of the time, but I'll be shadows. There. Yeah, I'm there. I see everything that goes on. I see Mike time out Johnny. I see all this stuff. I only speak when necessary, and it's not that often. The shithead kind of runs itself. Johnny.
Poor Johnny.
He's about to get a 6-month shutdown, man. You better be careful, boss.
Yeah, he says I'd miss him, but the only person I miss him is my notifications on my phone.
I mean, we'll find out if you will. I think 6 months is happening.
And I'll forget after 6 months, too, and it'll turn into years.
At that point, it'll just be the expo. Oh, hey, buddy. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you're here this time.
About you. Who are you?
But that's all we got. If you want your deals featured on the show, patreon.com/South Harmon. If you've watched this far, go down, hit the like, comment. Let us know why we're crazy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you back here. Same time, same place. Next weekend on Saturday morning. We're out of this thing. Peace.
Episode 100 done, boy.
100. Peace.